Welcome to Season 2 of the Pull Hook Golf Podcast. Here's your hosts, Matt Cook and Bobby Brown. Welcome back, everybody, to Pull Hook Golf, the podcast. This is episode number 42. And boy, oh boy, do we have a show for you. It's the end of the year show. So I'm your host, Matt Cook. We've got Bobby Brown here as our co-host. And Bobby, we're going to be talking a lot about this PNC Championship. We're going to dive into our betting recap.
Boy.
Yeah, I mean, lots of pennies being thrown around here, thousands of pennies. Bobby's back. We got the latest LIV Golf news. And then we're going to take a look back at the year in golf in 2022 and that landscape of how golf has changed. But before we dive into any golf stuff, Bobby, how was your Christmas?
Well, it's still going, Matt. I'm in La Quinta right now. I was just venting to you that I need to get the fuck home right now because I'm in La Quinta, where the average age is 82. I have my 5-year-old, my 9-year-old here with me, and of course, Lori. And I'm not sure if you've been here before, but it's not a very good place to have kids. Let's put it that way, because people don't like kids here. They stare at them, they snarl at them. You can't walk in Trader Joe's without my kids catching a hip check from Mr. Mom Pa Kettle somewhere. And it's just, I'm kind of over it right now. And I love my mom to death, but she's 86, but I got to get the fuck out. I'm losing my mind right now. We have this, they have a zoo here. It's called the Living Desert. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
They got zoo animals here, and they're here in the summer when it's like 120 degrees. And we've been like 16 times in the last 4 years because there's not much to do, right? So we went and dealt with that dust bowl today. And we're probably the only white people walking around, to tell you the truth. It's very Latino in this area, and you can tell it's all of us people that are left over for the holidays or booked a Southwest Airlines flight to get home the last couple of days.
Oh yeah, it's been a debacle.
Yeah, but it was a good haul. I mean, it's good for my kids. They get to see my mom. You know, she's getting up there. They get like the double Santa Claus Christmas. The cat's not out of the bag with them at 9 and 5. We're wondering how long that's going to last with my 9-year-old. Maybe one more year, because he's going to public school next year. So they got to open up their presents here, and they were pretty stoked about that. They both got scooters, so we're keeping them outside.
Beautiful.
Lori's a big outside mom. You know, we don't keep our kids trapped in the house or anything like that. So, and then when we get home, Santa's made another stop at home. So they both get their brand new bikes at home. And, you know, I'm ready to get home. I'm almost fucking ready to say I'm ready to get back to work. So, you know, my schedule, I mean, it's coming up, Matt, right around the corner. I'll go home for about 4 or 5 days on January 3rd. I will catch a flight to your neck of the woods into Phoenix, and Troy will practice for 4 or 5 days, and then I'll stay with my brother, and then I'll jam to Honolulu on the 8th. So I'm getting ready to get back to work. I'm going to miss the boys a lot just because of this age and that kind of stuff. So thank goodness he played good at Mayakoba and slipped in without that 3rd place finish, because I would have been gone 6 weeks in a row, and he's not a big fan. He's not a big fan of Torrey Pine. So yeah, right. 6 weeks in a row, right back to the Korean deal. So what else did I do? You want to know something? We took the boys to see a movie last night. Don't laugh, but Puss in Boots, the new one, is sneaky good.
I heard it's
fucking
good.
Hilarious, right? Usually I fall asleep in these kids' movies after about 25 minutes, and Lori's elbowing me to stop snoring, and you know, their big anti-phone rule inside the movie theater. But I made it through an hour and 42 minutes of Puss in Boots. So I'm a good dad.
You are. I mean, you suffered through it, but I heard that it's actually a pretty good movie, part of the Shrek franchise, and a lot of good stuff in there. I have not seen it. I don't have children yet, so, you know, trying to watch a comedy that is like a cartoon, still tough at this point.
Yeah, it's witty. Whoever writes these things, these guys are geniuses. I'll tell you what we did the other night with the new Avatar coming out. My kids had never seen Avatar before, so we put the Avatar on. They actually have a big TV here, so not like the one you make fun of mine at home, but they got one of those jumbo ones. And you know, I saw Avatar once before. Obviously, the new one's out. You know, the underwater one, but I wasn't really like into it. But this one, I was totally into, and I'm like, God, this was such a good fucking flick. And my 9-year-old watched the whole thing for about 3 hours. My 5-year-old, he lost interest. But my point being is I think we've run out of things to do here, Matt. So we're probably going to go see the new Avatar tomorrow.
Oh
And
my goodness, what a risk that is. I mean, that's a 3 hour plus movie there, Bobby. You were talking about getting through an hour and 42.
I know, but I'm going to be into the big risk is keeping my 5-year-old into it. But the deal is if I get him jacked up on sour gummy worms or something, because if you notice when you go to the movie theater, they don't sell those little fucking packs. They sell
No.
the family packs, right? And my little 5, that's the only reason he goes to the movie, And it was funny. I was telling Lori bought the tickets and then I bought all the drinks. And then we went and had a little dinner at this little organic place here in La Quinta for any of you people that come. It's off of Jefferson. It's called Heirloom. It's pretty good. I just get the standard BLT or on wheat or whatever. But I'm like, Jesus Christ, we just spent $200 on dinner and fucking movie for the kids. So, and I told my kids, I'm like, don't eat all those candies. Your tummy's going to hurt. And they're like, oh no, we're already done, And then you get the jumbo popcorn and they're just wolfing down the popcorn. And we got to dinner. 4 people sit down at this little hit and giggle organic place. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, dinner was $91. You got a tip. That's $1.10. And I'm watching my kids just go, oh, my tummy hurts. And I fucking was about ready to lose my shit. I felt like my grandpa back in 1974. How was your Christmas, Matt?
Not quite as eventful as yours. So it was just myself, my fiance, soon to be wife coming up in March. And then we've got the golden doodle Happy. And then we've gone through over the past couple of years 2 fish named Gilmore. We're not good fish owners. Well, one technically was killed by a coworker of my fiance's when we went on a trip. So
Right.
that was a classic. Oh, he just happened to die while you guys were gone. Then the second one had some issues, wasn't quite as friendly. This one, so we got a Gilmore number 3. I got him for Alyssa for Christmas. I was like, here you go, babe. The family's complete again because she felt like there was a void. So now we've got a Gilmore number 3. So we've got a fish going, which just means more maintenance and more work for me to do. So I was against it for a long time, but I'm like, I got into the Christmas spirit. Then she cooks. So she cooks this big pot of sauce. And it's like an old Italian recipe. And it's the best Italian sauce that you're going to taste. It's absolutely phenomenal. Lots of meats in there. She makes these huge meatballs and it soaks in for like an entire day. By day 2, it's unbelievable. It's all I've ate for the past like 5 days. So she made that on Christmas, and 5 days. It's been 3 days. But it's pretty much gone at this point, and it's a massive pot. So it was the 2 of us. We took it pretty casually, just enjoyed each other's company and watched some movies. But there was one incident that we did run into, which was, you talk about your children and being in movies. Well, our son, he which is a dog named Happy, golden doodle, but they're very smart. They're very intelligent. They're kind of like kids, and not really, but they are. So they're our kid, right? We go, and a friend of his that we have not seen in probably a better part of a year. But when he was a little puppy, he used to get dominated by this dog. And it was like a pit bull mix, but they were buddies. I mean, they got along candidly. Sure enough, we come walking outside of our place, and there they are. She came back for the holidays, spent time with her family, and there's the dogs, and she just lets the dog go. And my Happy was not having it. And he is technically the interview dog at his camp that he goes to as well, because he won't put up with shit. So like he's the friendliest dog ever, gets along with every dog. But if a dog like is a little too aggressive, he puts him in his place, apparently. Well, I hadn't seen this. So I'm holding on to him, and I've got the leash. He's an 80-pound golden doodle going up against like a 55, 65-pound pit bull mix. I thought he was going to.
This doesn't sound good, Matt.
I thought he was going to tear up that dog. It came in a little too hot. And all of us were like, whoa, what happened? What happened? You two used to be friends. But man, he was getting after him, had the snarl going. You could see his teeth. it got aggressive there for a second. No
Oh,
blood, nothing happened. But
thank
yeah,
God.
Bobby, there was some Christmas drama almost. So
It,
that was eventful for us.
well, when two dogs tee off like that, it puts a feeling through a human being that you've never experienced before, right? It's fucking full on. What do I do? Do I get in there? It's full on panic mode. 80 pounds. I could only imagine. My mom had a couple golden doodles and she has a Bernie doodle now, but he's just like a big puppy dog, he's like, I mean, he's like my mom's new son now that us five boys are gone. So he's just totally pampered. But I know what you mean. I have a soft coated Wheaten Terrier and he is an A-typer and he gets along with every dog in the neighborhood. But when this wacky terrier comes cruising by for some reason, he does not like that son of a bitch. And you cannot let them within a half a block of each other because it's on. But I'm glad I thought you were going to end this with some kind of bloody Bloody
No,
Sunday or
it
something
was
like
it
that.
it seemed like the most vicious attack of two dogs
Yeah.
ever, but no contact was made,
Yeah.
and they were just like they were not having each other's It was almost like, hey, you used to be the big dog around here around town. You left. Now this is my
Yeah.
hood. I'm taking
No.
you out, man. And I'm just sitting there like holding him back, an 80-pound golden doodle, trying him to not allow him to like get after this dog. I'm just like, and the other dog's off leash. So like he's like hit like bobbing and weaving, trying to come in. And it was a lot. But Bobby, let's switch gears for a
Okay.
second. Let's
Okay.
turn from the Christmas holiday
Yes.
spirit into, I do have to say that you are correct. There is a skins game at Mountain Shadows
I
that is a
told
lot of
you.
the pros. You did. And
I told
apparently
you that.
this has been around for a long time.
Yeah,
Not only that, but I run into Andrew Putnam
buddy.
at literally at the personal training session this morning. He was with another one of the trainers, and then I didn't even say hi because he's got a mustache now. So I didn't recognize him at first. I find out afterwards, and then I see him walking off of the skins game later on in the
Right.
afternoon because I went down and just played afterwards. My poor buddy, I feel terrible for him. We play as a team all the time, so it's normally 2-on-2. A lot of guys are out of town right now, obviously for the holidays. I go out there and what do? Not a very friendly thing to do to your teammate. I drop 6 birdies on him and take him for
Mhm.
literally almost every single hole. I felt terrible. My buddy Mark, my
No, you
apologies,
didn't.
buddy. We will win that money back for you through our team events, okay? So just have to add that in there. But Mountain Shadows right now, Bobby, it's in great
Kicking.
conditions. I mean, it's what's behind me right now, and
Yeah, I've
it
never been
is
there.
phenomenal. So yeah, I played earlier this afternoon, and now obviously we're doing this.
Always, well, it goes to show you what kind of game. I mean, I've heard over the years this game's been going on forever. That you just said it, that tour players will just show up during the off season, or if they have a week off, or there's a couple brothers that are legendary mini tour players out there, Bobby and Tommy Kalinowski. That's going way back. I think Tom Lehman's son's played in it before, so I know Siwoo's ex caddy who's working for God, who's he working for now? Tyler Duncan, Brian Brandish has played in that. So, I'm glad to see that my information was verified
You
again,
yeah,
like it
you're
always
always spot
is.
on, Bobby.
Yes.
The other thing to that, skins. So 2 weeks ago, guy breaks course record, has 12 birdies out there, does
Yeah.
not win a skin.
Wow. Well, that should tell you the depth of the talent pool, right?
My buddy was telling me it's like normally it's got to be a hole in one for you to win a
I've
skin
heard
out
that. I
there.
was just going to say that Brian Brandish was telling me about that game. He's like, man, you pretty much got to drop one in the bucket to make any money unless you got some side action going.
But
So
you can win some money out there. I mean,
yeah,
those
there's
pots get up there.
yeah, well, I'm sure, man. Fuck, you can even get some chopperoonie can drop one in the bucket at any time,
That's
but
what I was thinking.
mixing it, yeah, exactly, right. But mixing it up with those guys, some chopperoonie, the chop usually comes out in the chopperoonie, doesn't it? You get a little nervous teeing it up with those guys. It's a whole nother level.
It
And
is.
we talked before about mini tour players in Arizona are probably the best really in the nation, Matt, aren't they? I mean,
They
it's
really
so
are.
deep, the talent pool so deep out there. So what else you got
Well,
for
there
us?
was another guy that tied the course record that same day and shot 11 under. And yeah,
Yeah,
it kind of crazy to just hear these numbers out there. And while I'm sitting out there dropping six, I also had 4 bogeys today. So, I mean, it wasn't the greatest round in the world, but at the same time, these guys are going out and doubling the amount of birdies that I had. I'm like, holy shit,
yeah.
these guys can fucking play. But talking about gambling, let's dive into our betting recap. The
Oh,
the Matt versus Bobby betting recap.
God.
I'm going to tell you right now, our social media guy, Brad, he had a
Brad Friedman.
post ready to go. He had a post ready to go, thinking after day one of the PNC Championship that I was going to sweep you. And you even told me
I thought
before
so.
this episode that you were ready to send me the full Venmo, which
Yeah,
would have
I
been
was.
it would have been 6,000 pennies.
Jeez, it would have.
Yeah,
That's a lot of
it's
pennies.
a lot of
Actually,
pennies.
I was so upset. I was telling Lori, I'm like, how do I go to a bank, get 6,000 pennies and FedEx that shit over there to him?
That would have been amazing.
Unrolled.
Yeah, just in a bag.
Ball markers for life.
Oh gosh, that would have been absolutely classic. So I end up that Afra Asia
Mauritius.
Mauritius, whatever the hell,
Meridius.
Meridius, whatever the hell that thing was.
Yeah.
Um,
You had Lucas. Lucas Beauregard.
yeah,
Yeah.
we did, and I ended up winning, but both of our guys missed the cut. You had Dean
It's
Burmester.
Burgermeister, Meister Burger this time of year. And you know what the funny thing is, as I woke up after on day one and I got to see, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking shell him this week. I'm like, where's Burgermeister? And he played, and he maybe had a two or three shot lead on Beauregard, right? And then
Yeah,
I do what I always do on the second day. I start at the bottom and look up instead of the top, right? So I'm looking up the bottom and I'm like, wait, why is Burgermeister here? Did I miss Beauregard? That what he was Burgermeister ended up at 2 over, you ended up at 1 over, or it was
yeah.
3 over or
I got you
two
by a
over. So
stroke, I
I'm
think.
like, I just wasn't, I've said it before, whatever Bobby Brown likes, just go the opposite. I'm gonna give you names. I'm gonna give you names, folks, that if you bet, a couple bucks to win on some long shot over the season, it's just somebody that's caught my eye for whatever reason. And I'm hoping everybody catches somebody that I tout them on at 40 or 60 to 1, and then all of a sudden I'm superhero. But Matt,
That's
I
the cake.
lost.
You're
But
you're
I
gonna brag
lost.
the shit out of that week.
I am. But let's talk about how I got off the schneid, Matt.
You
I got
did.
off the schneid
It
with
actually hurt a little bit. I actually felt a little like, even though I'm still up 4,000 pennies,
yes, that's a lot of
I am a
pennies.
savage. I wanted to end 2022
Mm-hmm.
with the sweep of all of our
Yes.
penny bets.
Yeah. I did not want that.
Yeah.
I did not want that, man.
You had a major comeback
I
on
did. Well, I
Sunday.
wouldn't call it a major comeback because after fucking day one, I'm like, oh, here we fucking go again. What's fucking drunky dad doing out there with his son? They're not playing any golf. I know he needs a new knee. And all I was thinking to myself was, how close was Justin Thomas's team coming out of my mouth too, right? It was just like in the
Yeah.
Meridius Open, I had Thomas Dietrich. I was all over it, and I called this audible. So I knew I was cooked because I knew I was cooked after day one, but when day two rolled around, I'm like, I'm not even fucking watching this goddamn golf tournament. I got too much stress. I got other things to do. I don't want to watch the fucking
You were
PNC.
stressing out over the fifth major, the
Well,
PNC
it's just,
Championship, which,
it's
by
all
the way,
about,
folks, we are segueing right into the recap for the PNC
yes,
Championship.
yes, yes, we are. Yes,
Tell
we
us
are.
about
But,
it, Bobby.
well, I mean, do you want me to go down the leaderboard, or you want me to continue the drama with our
The
bet? Because
the drama
well,
for sure.
the drama of our bet was, I'm like, God damn it, I'm losing again after day one. And then after about I'm going to say not 7 or 8, or maybe 11 or 12 holes, I'm like, well, everybody knows I had Team Daily, right? So, and you had,
Team
you
Woods.
know, T Dub and
Well, I didn't expect Charlie to get fucking injured.
the walking wounded you had out there. So, and then
Gimpy
I'm like,
Jr.
oh my God, the dailies are fucking going Yahtzee right now. I think they actually ended going for 10 under that day, didn't they? But they
They
were,
shot 59.
yeah, 59, whatever
Yeah.
they went for, but they were going Yahtzee. And I'm like, I'm in this, but then now in the back of my mind, I'm thinking this is the same scenario I was in the goddamn sixth major, that thing down in Naples. What's it called again? The QBE, ex Greg Norman. I used to be
The
popular.
shootout, the QB
Yeah, and
shootout.
I'm like, oh, he's gonna run me down just because of holes and that kind of stuff. But then I started watching Tiger and Charlie, and I'm like, I feel pretty fucking good about this one. I got enough cushion going, and obviously Daly finished tied for second at 24 under, and I think, fuck man, Tiger and the kid finished at 20 under, right? So it was never really, even 18's a par five there, and I'm like, well, I got him with 2 holes to go. Even if they went birdie eagle, I'm gonna get him. But I'm off the schneid. I'm only down 4,000 pennies. I did give VJ and Cass, his son, a little pop on the thing, because I know Cass is VJ's VJ, right? And I know VJ never stops practicing. and his son's been was a golfer his whole life, and he's got a pretty looking swing. And I don't know if I really had a feeling, or I was just saying, man, these guys get no respect. They've never won that thing. I think they played
No,
it 15 or 16 times, right?
this was their 16th
16.
try.
Yeah, and this might have been the only time. Yeah, this is the only time they got a win, and they
Yeah.
ended up winning by 2. They finished at 26 under. Daly's at 24 under. How Justin Thomas and his dad lose, I have no idea, because they're supposed to slaughter everybody, aren't they? Weren't they leading after the first day,
But
or
they were
some
leading,
ridiculous
and
thing?
then what were they? They had a shot lead or 2-shot lead, and then man, they had it rolling on the front 9 too, and then they just got cold. I mean,
Yeah,
JT could only carry him so far.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, and that same thing happened with Tiger. I didn't expect Tiger to be carrying Charlie, but
Right.
Charlie even said after day 1, he goes, "That's the best I've ever seen my dad
Yeah,
play," and he
yeah.
was. I mean, Tiger was balling out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Charlie had to go back a set of tee, or I know
He
they
did.
changed it, but he's still not the 11-year-old Charlie that came onto the map that was playing those really short tees, like probably Annika's young son was
Willie
playing. Yeah.
Mack, that kid was great.
Willie Mack? Who? What
Or
do you mean?
Willie McGee.
Oh,
What's
oh,
his
oh yeah.
last name? I, I like the name Willie Mack.
Yeah, everybody does. He's popular. He's the
Yeah.
African golfer that's so popular and so good. And I think he's got some Corn Ferry Tour status or something like that. But so Justin Thomas, they finished T2 at 24 under. I think Padraig Harrington 22 under their 4 back, and then you had a group of Kuchar's team, Bernhard Langer. I was shocked that Bernhard Langer plays these tees that are like 6,000 yards or 6,100 yards. I know he's 60 some years old, but you still think Bernhard Langer winning all those times on the regular tour and the Champions Tour. I never realized he played the golf course so short. And then of course Team Corda, Nelly Corda carried her dad around for fifth for T5 at 21 under. And if there were any disappointments, it was your guy. It was the big fella,
It
Tiger and
was.
Charlie. I don't know, is Spieth and his dad a disappointment at 20
No.
under? Probably
No.
not, to tell you
No.
the
That
truth.
was a pretty good
Yeah.
showing by the two of them.
Yeah, I know. And then Annika, we were talking about her little lefty
Well,
kid. Who looks like
that's
he's
the kid
got
that I
some
was talking
game.
about.
Yeah.
Willie McGee.
Yeah, Will McGee. That's
Yeah.
right. I keep thinking, you always think Annika
He had
Sorensen.
a
You
sick
don't give
outfit
dad
day
any
1 though.
respect. What's that?
Day 1 his outfit was sick. He
What
had
was
like
it?
that like Nike kind of khaki color that they
Uh-huh.
throw on the Jordans and so forth.
Oh yeah.
And he had that full outfit where it was a hoodie and then
Yeah.
joggers,
Yeah.
and then he
He
had
looked,
the Jordans on, and I mean the kid looked
he
dope.
looked fresh as shit.
Yeah, he
Yeah, I
did.
saw he was rocking 4s all week, wasn't he? The retro
Yeah.
4, the retro 4s
They
all week.
asked him about it, Bobby, on the
Did
broadcast.
they?
They interviewed, and they're like, "So you're looking really well put together. Like you're the sharpest guy out here today. Like how'd you come about this outfit?" And he goes, "My dad picked it out for me,
Yeah.
and I asked him like, Dad, is this like a cool outfit?" And my dad was like, "Son, this is a cool outfit. You got to wear this." And he's like,
Right.
"So I just went with it." The kid
It's
was
like
awesome.
It's like Mars. It's got to be the shoes, money. It's got to be the shoes. What rich fucking kid doesn't wear red? Doesn't wear 4s or something like
Right.
that on the golf
That's valid. That's valid.
it just makes us all as normal people just fucking foam at the mouth wishing we had those, because there's this company came out. There was have you heard of East Side Golf? These two African
Oh yeah.
American young guys, the East Side Golf. So they did some collabs with MJ, with Jordan, and they got a sick pair of
The
fucking
Jordan
4s that go for
12s.
that's
Oh, wait a second. What are the Jordan 4s that they have?
they didn't they do, yeah, they have 4s. I think their
Oh
first
shit,
ones were the 4s with the little gold,
oh
along the side. And they were the first collab where their East Side Golf logo, and their big logo is dig it in the mud, right? Because they grew
yeah.
up on those Atlanta golf courses and played golf together, on courses that weren't in great shape, and it's turf and it's all mud underneath. So that's like their color scheme. But they were the first collab with Jordan. I know this because I'm a shoe whore, that where their logo went on the tongue and not Jumpman, and they took Jumpman off the tongue and put it back towards the back. And not to mention, if anybody's into documentaries and that kind of stuff, there's one, I think it's on Hulu. It's called Grails, right? And I watched it, and it's a 4-part series on how these two guys got together. And it's
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch that.
dude, watch it. It's phenomenal, and everything that they went through. And I'll tell you the best buy, because I'm a big sneaker guy, but the best guy is they came out with a navy blue
Yes.
Jordan 1 lows that you can get on StockX from anywhere from $130 to $160. But I think
Wait a
they,
second. For
yes.
real?
Yeah,
When
but I
did
don't
those
think they're
drop?
not golf shoes, but I don't think they're golf shoes.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
they're
sure they're
not.
just casual one low, Jordan 1 lows, but they're fresh as fuck. And they had some 12 that they had some 12s drop, and the colorway on the bottom is that mud.
That
And it's all about the box with those guys too. If you see the box that their shoes drop in, it almost looks like it's the first tee of Augusta, right? And I know this because I watched the show, and everybody's like lined up down, and most of the crowd is African American, as it should be, right? Excuse me. And he was one of the guys who started the company was saying, "Hey, that's my dad right there." Like he put his dad in the thing and that kind of stuff. Just a feel
oh,
good
I gotta watch
kind of
that.
kind of thing. So, so the rich kids are rocking all the East Side golf stuff. That's for sure. I was
Those are
even
dope.
asking Harold Varner at where was it, at Hilton Head, because he's a Jordan guy, obviously,
Yeah,
right? And I'm like, hey, do you got any East Side golf? Did
he
you get any
does.
East Side golf swag? And he said that he got some. And I go, do you got the fours? He's like, man, I couldn't even get the fours because they didn't make that many of them. And I'm like, oh wow, I've been tracking them on StockX and eBay, and they're like $3,000 or $4,000 each or something like that, which means I will never own a pair. But I've almost pulled the trigger on those ones, those navy blue ones that I was telling you about. So here we get off track on the whole
Well,
thing. But
those
shout out to
Jordan
East Side
12s.
Golf.
Yeah, East Side
Yeah.
Golf, those Jordan 12s, the navy
Oh,
with the white on the side.
yeah.
See, those I'm trying to get because I'm like, they've had two releases of them. So they're
Okay.
not as expensive as some of the other ones. But,
Right.
anyways, navy blue is
Gotcha.
usually my color, just like you, Bobby. I mean, we've talked
Look at
about
us.
this. Yeah,
Look at us. Look
I
at
know.
us.
Well, I've
Look at
got
us.
the
You and your
royal
bull
blue
hook
one.
golf caddy. I'm back to
Yeah.
basics with the lid and everything. I was prepping for this, getting the computer all set up, telling my boys, you cannot come into Nana's room for an hour. You hear the dog barking in the background. I'm going to have a word with her about that too. Bernie Doodles. You can't trust them.
You can't trust them.
I told you, shut up, dog.
I do have to give you credit though on the PNC Championship. You
Okay.
did say watch out for VJ and Cass,
I did.
and I shit on you for that because I was like,
You
oh
did.
VJ, like nah, that's never gonna happen. But listen, it ended up happening. VJ was
Yes.
injured too. I mean, that was the theme of this entire damn tournament. Every
Yeah.
old
No.
guy was injured.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
poor VJ had to wear Hoka shoes, which those were
Yeah.
like a hiking sneaker, so the traction on the
You
bottom.
know, it's fun. It's funny, but I saw a picture of him or something, and I'm like, what are those fucking shoes that he's wearing right there? Because he had like Fred Couples wears those Echo. You remember
Yep.
ECCO? I'm not sure if he still has to deal with them, but VJ always wore these. You know, VJ always looked fresh as shit until you got to the shoes during his career, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
what is he wearing? Are those Echoes or whatever? And I didn't even know the scoop until you sent me some notes this morning to prep with and that kind of stuff. For all you people that don't think we do our homework, we do our homework.
We do our
Matt
homework.
knows what he's fucking doing out there.
We
What else you got?
try.
What else you got, man?
Well, let's jump into live. I mean,
We got some big shit.
we do. Now, you want to get us started with the live golf news?
Well, I mean, the Live Golf news to me is, it was also a Maktoum, whatever, the dude that resigned and everything like that. But the big news to me was, should have bet you 1,000 fucking pennies on this one because you
You
didn't think
should
it was
have.
going to
I
happen. But
didn't think it was.
I knew it was going to happen because 16 guys, they let 16 guys in from Live, and I'm not surprised. And the Live guys, the Twitters are going off, and Greg Norman's kids going off, and that's the way it should be. And it's like, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, what's the big deal? It's the Masters. Those guys they should play in the Masters. To tell you, there's that damn dog again, can you hear him? Shut up, dog.
So the
So,
Masters, the live guys are allowed to play in the
yeah,
Masters, which,
yeah,
by the way, now it changes. Remember a couple weeks ago when we had that one question, do you guys think that any of the live golfers are going to win one of the four majors next year? And I
yeah,
said no, because I didn't think that the
yeah,
Masters was going to allow anybody. I thought it was just going to be the
right,
US Open and the Open Championship, which I didn't think that the US Open is really tailor made to a guy like Cam Smith, or I think some of these other guys like Bryson DeChambeau has had better days, Patrick Reed, Kevin, nah, but Bubba Watson, Phil. So I was on the side of zero. You were on the side of zero. But now that the Masters is open to these
it's
guys,
different.
I'm
It's
going
different.
back to Cam Smith. That's my guy this year. That's going
Okay.
to be my pick. So I got one live golf golfer winning a major this year?
Okay, I have 0 live golfers still winning a major this year. 0. I don't think one of them's going to win. If it did happen, I think it would be Augusta. But let me run down a little deal for everybody that listens, because they probably already know this. Okay, so 16 guys are in, right? Sergio, Lefty, DJ, Patrick Reed, Schwartzel, Bubba Watson. Those are all past champions, right? So those are guys that have obviously won the Masters, and they're invited to come back for life. So this next group of guys I'm going into, everybody cue the dramatic music right now, because this is their
Dun, dun,
fucking last Masters.
dun.
I have a
I don't know
feeling
if that's true.
this could be their last Masters. These guys: Abe Answer, Bryson DeChambeau, Taylor Gooch, Brooks Koepka, Kokrak, Kevin Na, Joaquin, Louis, Cam Smith, Harold Varner. I shouldn't say Cam Smith because he won. He
won the Open Championship.
Okay, so he's going to be so that probably gives you minimum 5 years, possibly 10, but I'm going to say it's 5 years. So he's good for a while. Harold Varner, those guys, fucking see you later. This is going to be your last Masters. And some of these guys have fucking played good there before. Cam, listen, all these live guys going on, yeah, fucking 16, we got him. That's right. It's the best field in golf. It's like, yeah, no shit. You guys should be able to play in the Masters. It's no big deal, But let's be honest. There's 2 guys out of those 16 guys between you and I and everybody else in this world that could win. And we know it's DJ and it's Cam Smith. The other guys, fucking, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I don't think they have any chance of winning.
Bryson potentially, but I don't know what his game is going to look like after.
He's never played, Matt. He's never played good there. Remember, he was T21 in 2000.
Oh, not the Masters. I'm talking about the other majors.
Oh, no, we're not even there yet. It's not June. We're only in April, you son of a bitch. Don't get ahead of us. I am strictly Masters lingo right now. Masters and only Masters. Right. And everybody talk. Remember Bryson's famous comment last year, the year before? Oh, it's like a par 67 for me. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude just shot fucking 11 over in 2 days. Then I guess if it's a par 67, slap ass mother. Oh, I can't say the F-bomb much anymore because don't we have a problem with YouTube saying that?
No, that was more the C word. See you next Tuesday.
Yeah, see you next Tuesday word. So anyways, I have
fuck a feeling is fine. You can drop a fuck out there.
Oh, fucking A then. Fucking A. So anyways, I don't see to DJ and Cam are like the only ones that can win. And honestly, this with their 14 event schedule starting in late February and that kind of stuff, I still think DJ's lost the edge a little bit as far as practicing and that kind of stuff. And, if there's a week or 2 of live tournaments before the tournament, and I know before the tournament, I could see him being sharp. Can I just say that even though Sungjae finished second to him in November, and he's had some good finishes there before, and I was on the bag for some good finishes with him, the November Masters to me in 2020 is still a little asterisk next to it, right? Because it wasn't this dude. I'm telling you, I've been there before, and I was there the very following April when Sungjae got his head kicked in, because it wasn't the same as the November Masters. So, to me, that's always a little, hey, he's got a green jacket. He's Dustin Johnson. He's one of the greatest players we've ever seen. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, he still
wasn't the same. It didn't play the same. It was very soft. The rye was brand new. Yeah. It was like
putts weren't getting out of control like they normally get out of get out
they were slower.
Yeah, they were slower. I mean, they were the traditional pins that we've had always seen before, and it wasn't the same conditions. Because like I said, we all went back with Sungjae, and he got his head kicked in after 2 days, and and he's fucking rifling me and everything, and I'm like, finally, after he missed a cut, I'm like, I fucking told you. You know what I mean? I told you you can't be as aggressive as you thought you could be in November when you could, see flag, hit flag, and, see shot, hit shot, and that kind of stuff. So congratulations. Those 16 guys are in. I'm still going with the Bobby B that no live guy wins a major this year. So that takes care of that topic. But now I rely on you to pronounce the gentleman's name that was the bigwig with LIV that just resigned, because you and I have a theory on some stuff.
So Atul, he resigned, and he was the COO, so Chief Operations Officer. And for people that don't know who this is, because a lot of people don't, they just
give me his rundown. Give me his resume.
They hear the name, and it's like, oh, he's one of the guys from Saudi Arabia. Not the case. He is a veteran sports executive. He's actually the one that believed in the team aspect the most.
Right.
And in my research, so he spent most recently, before he went to LIV Golf, He was the chief corporate development and brand officer for 4 years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay.
All right.
So obviously won a title there.
Yep.
And then he had the previous 6 years to that with the Chicago Fire, the MLS soccer club, as the
Okay.
chief operating officer. And
Okay.
before that, he spent 4 years with NBC Sports as the
Ooh.
VP of Business Development and Operations.
Oh, so he's
So
a TV guy.
he had that experience, and then obviously on the operations side, but that's where, to me, that's even a bigger black eye to this whole live
Yeah.
golf side, because you weren't able to close down a TV deal, even with a TV executive, a network executive working for you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's obviously not a good look. And then with him resigning, that is a terrible look for live golf. And I don't care what anybody else says. Oh, they were parting ways. They're going through a transition with the leadership side. I've heard all those things with startup businesses as well. And guess
Mm-hmm.
what? When big people within the organization, like respected people within an organization, start to
Mm-hmm.
leave,
Mm-hmm.
you know that things are going really poorly.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that with the New York Times article that I sat there and I'm like, they released confidential records. So we talked about, by the way, their board, the board of directors and their dream team that they wanted to build
Right.
with Michael Jordan and Condoleezza
Fun.
Rice. But
We were laughing at that. We
we
were laughing
were.
at
But this one is actually, they have, so McKinsey is a big consulting firm that works with a lot of corporate businesses, and their documents that they were working with Live Golf, somehow they leaked out to the New York Times, shocker. And basically it showed that everything that they had shown as benchmarks for Live Golf to be successful, or to
Mhm.
track whether or not they were being successful within this transition and everything, none of them were hit, and it was very far away in terms of where they're at to where they should have been in terms
Right.
of results. And
Right.
then the other big key that came from that as well was the fact that their entire business model isn't
Mm-hmm.
based around profits. So they
Mm.
have
Oh,
multiple agendas with this, which I think is pretty well documented and so forth. But with this guy leaving, with Atul leaving, who's the COO, now we get to speculate here, Bobby. So I got a
yeah.
few
Go.
questions for you.
Okay,
Ready? We're
go.
going to rapid fire this bad boy.
Okay, go.
Is the role Mark King is going to fill, is this it? Is this the one, the COO position, instead of the reported CEO position because of Greg Norman?
50-50.
Wow, 50-50.
What do you
Okay.
think? What do you think? My people still tell me Norman's out, that he's just going to be the face and that kind of stuff. And he's been awful quiet lately, hasn't he?
He has. He's kind of
Mm-hmm.
taken a back seat a bit, but he's also been pretty vocal beforehand about the fact that he wasn't going anywhere. And that, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even within some of these reports that are coming out, it's like, oh no, Greg Norman is the reason we're making a lot of these moves and whatever. So I don't know if I'm really buying into that.
Mm-hmm.
However, if they have Mark King ready to go
Mm-hmm.
and they couldn't get Greg Norman out,
Mm-hmm.
and they still want him to somewhat be the face,
Mm-hmm.
or at least to take the brunt of bad press and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
Mark King was like, all right, I'll take the COO spot. So I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a chance that that's what's going
I
down. But
agree.
I also have a feeling on the other side of the spectrum to where I'm like, this wasn't planned. Like,
No,
this was not something that they saw coming. For him to
no.
resign,
Well, so there's a problem. So he didn't like something.
yeah,
Something's not right. Is he from Saudi Arabia?
I don't believe so, but I'm not 100% either on that.
Okay.
I did not check. I
Okay.
just knew from obviously his background and everything that it was more than him just being a part of the Saudi investment and so forth.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Now,
There's a problem somewhere if he bails.
there has to be.
Yeah.
Is this the end of the team aspect? And the
Fuck
reason,
no. It's the
you
only
don't
thing
think
keeping him
so?
going. No, it's the only intriguing thing about the whole deal. Every caddy that I know that I've talked to there, every player I know that I've talked to there, say that's the most important. That's the funnest thing about this whole deal. Are you kidding? They would fucking sink so fast. Who the fuck wants to go watch them watch those, 90% of these 80, I'll say 80% of these guys, these washed up guys go play a 48-man medal play winner, I can't even say regular tournament, 54-hole tournament. Fuck no. The team aspect is the thing that they think is going to carry them and keep them going and make them super
I
popular.
think it's the only thing that's going to make them
Only
survive is the
chance,
team
only
aspect.
chance. It's the
But
only chance that I want. I mean, it piques my in me. I don't care who wins. I'm more interested in all the team drama at the end when I'm
agreed.
watching it. Personally speaking, and I'm not a big, huge live guy. You know that. I mean, I can deal with it and everything. You've heard me say it. That we do our thing. They're going to do that thing, but their thing. But the team thing is the fucking only thing that's going to keep them fucking going, especially with these new players coming in and out and all the talking about guys going on the bench and that kind of stuff. So big rapid fire fucking no on that. They'd be buried. They'd be fucking buried.
The big reason I asked it though is because
Why?
this Atul was known that he was the pusher behind, he was the
Yeah,
big believer in the team aspect. And I
right.
guess within what my research showed was that Greg Norman wasn't necessarily on board with that. So they
Yeah,
bashed heads. So that's where it'll be interesting to see. But I'm with you. I think they
right,
have to stick with this in order to be at all successful or to carry on with the
right.
entire thing. Also, what does it mean when a former network executive can't help secure a TV deal and then resigns?
Nothing good. Doesn't mean anything good. I can tell you that much. That means that they're in trouble. We reported some weeks ago that my guy told me that they were getting close to having that. I think it was Fox or something, one of the Fox channels, and
Fox Sports.
they were almost completely a go. They were almost completely a go on that. But if this guy had those connections in the past, which I'm sure he made many connections working for NBC for 4 years, I think even though other networks are competitors and that kind of stuff, I feel like it's almost like the PGA Tour where guys are playing against each other and they're competing in each other, but they still dine together, so to speak, or they socialize together. They might not share company secrets or anything like that, but I think that's a big hit. Fuck, they might not get any TV. That might be YouTube for a while now, huh? It's
They might
possible.
be, unless Fox allows the. I mean, Fox turning them down with them having to pay Fox and
Hmm.
then do all of their own advertisements.
Yeah,
That,
yeah,
like, to Fox, that's like a nothing. Like, that's like, oh, I've got a platform here. Yeah, you pay me. Because normally it's the other way around. Normally
yeah,
they're paying the organizations, or well, not the organizations, but the leagues. So any sports leagues, they're paying them a hefty sum in order to televise them or
right.
license their games, or for rounds, tournaments for this matter. And sure enough, I don't know if they're going to be able to get a deal like that. I certainly don't think so after the Fox Sports stuff came out. And like they've got a big backer there too, with the head of Fox that really is trying to get this deal pushed through. But there's a lot of politics going on there. So that's the
Yeah,
challenge with a lot of the politics being
yeah.
brought into golf,
Hmm.
which now leads us to our look back at 2022,
Ooh,
Bobby,
what
because
a year.
do you think that this golf landscape has changed forever?
God, that's a good question, right? I mean, I can't answer that. I don't know. It's still, I got to see one more year. I got to see one more year. But I will say this, 2022 is the craziest. I've been involved with the tour for just south of 20 years now. And this is the craziest year that I've ever seen for sure. So we got to give them one more year to see how this team thing goes, to tell you the truth, to see if their footprint is,
I agree with
if
you.
this is going to continue on, if they're going to leave a
Yeah.
footprint in golf or not. The fact is they're never going to go where they want to go without world rankings. So the deal is, if they ever switch to where they check all those boxes, and first one being 72 holes, and I believe the second one being some kind of a cut or something like that, or open qualifying, whatever it is. You know better than I do on these things, Matt. But no, not until they will get world rankings will they really leave a fucking T-Rex footprint in the whole deal.
I'm with you.
They've shaken it up. They've
I think
shaken it up.
2023 is going to be a big year that's going to tell a lot. But I do think that because of this, for whatever reason, that the entire golf landscape has changed. Because what if they do go de- debunked after 2023? PGA
Yeah.
Tour going to bring these guys back in, after
Well,
they.
God, I hope no. That means I got to see fucking Perez again. So God, hope. Well, no, he'd be out of status.
There
Yeah,
you
he'd be out
go.
of fucking
I don't
status.
think I don't think they'd want him back, to be honest with you.
They don't want
I
him.
think they were happy. They're like, hey, sayonara, partner.
Yeah. Well,
Take it
well,
easy. Good luck in Live Golf retirement out there. Hopefully, you don't get
well,
relegated.
here's what we can do for you, Mr. Perez. We're going to send you the Monday qualifying tournaments in future years for the Champions Tour. Good luck.
So I'm going to run down the what actually transpired
Okay,
during
go.
2022. You ready?
Go.
So year obviously started like every other year in Hawaii, right? By February, everything started to change. So, and it started to change really right before the Genesis Invitational. But
Right.
that's when Jay Monahan had that players only meeting and
Yes.
drew the line in the sand and said,
Yeah.
if you go over there, you are suspended from the PGA Tour. End of story. That's it. Then the media. So obviously, some of the players already knew that they were going to be heading over to LIV. It starts getting leaked into the media.
Mm-hmm.
That's when everything started to really turn, and sides were created amongst the fans, which thought, oh, the PGA Tour is this evil empire.
Right.
You got Live Golf, and then others looked at it as, oh, Live Golf is a horrible entity because it's funded by Saudi Arabia. They had involvement in 9/11, got really political, right? So then you got Phil Mickelson's comments come out right after. So it was like literally a week or two after the Genesis Invitational. Phil's comments come out about the Saudis. All of a sudden, he's not going to be playing in the Masters anymore. We got Scotty Scheffler wins the Masters. By
Yeah.
June, Jay Monahan makes it very political by going on with Jim Nance. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you remember the tournament or not, but
I
they go
don't.
on
I
and
do.
basically start talking about how bad Saudi Arabia is, the money from it's awful. They go into the whole political side, and literally every golf media outlet from that point forward started referring to Live Golf as Saudi Golf Tour or League.
Yeah.
And that ended up turning into a media frenzy, which was
Mm-hmm.
very negative press against Live Golf. But
Mm-hmm.
as everybody in media knows, bad press is not always bad press.
Yes.
So it actually helped. It brought them to the mainstream. It made everybody who, I mean, non golfers knew of Live Golf because of everything going on. So it put them on
Mm-hmm.
the map. Then you
Mm-hmm.
got Matt Fitzpatrick wins the US Open.
Mm-hmm.
Later in the summer, Jay really takes a step back. So after
Mm-hmm.
I had been preaching for months about how this was a screw up from a PR standpoint, Jay takes a step back. But then guess who steps up as like the spokespeople of the PGA
Mm-hmm.
Tour? You got Rory and
Yep.
Justin Thomas all of a
Yep.
sudden become the speaking heads for the PGA Tour against Live Golf. Then we
Mm-hmm.
get to the Open Championship. St. Andrews. Ah, what a beautiful, beautiful destination and Open Championship that was. Got Cam Smith edging out Rory McIlroy. Rumor
Mm-hmm.
started to spread a little bit about Cam Smith taking off. We already knew. Bobby,
Yep.
you and I, we already
Yeah.
knew that he was gone.
Yeah, we did.
Then you get that constant news stream, the rumors, the speculation about all the Live golfers that were, or all of the golfers that were going to be leaving for Live Golf. You got Justin Thomas comes out and wins the PGA Championship. Big one for the good guys there.
Yeah.
Then you
Yeah.
got Will Zalatoris, who had a fucking
Yes.
year this year with the
What a
majors.
year.
Unbelievable.
What
Masters
a year.
T6, US Open T2,
Mm-hmm.
Open Championship T28, and
Mm-hmm.
then the PGA Championship second.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable year before he ends up throwing out his back and needing surgery on that. Then we've
Mm-hmm.
got the Players Advisory Council. They call
Mm-hmm.
a meeting towards the end of the season and big
Mm-hmm.
changes for the top players, which we had James Hahn on, and he was not
Mm-hmm.
the biggest fan of some
No.
of these changes going on because he felt like it just caters to the top guys, doesn't
Yeah.
cater to the other 150 golfers that are on the tour that are making a living
Valid.
from
Valid
playing
point,
great. Yeah,
James.
it was a very
Valid.
valid point. We've got, because of that meeting, we now have 5 elevated events where the
Mm-hmm.
purses are much higher. Waste Management Open being one of them. What a shit show that's going to be this year, especially with the Super Bowl being here in Arizona that same weekend. It's going to be an
Yeah.
absolute damn mess. Old
Yeah.
Town Scottsdale will never be the same. We've
Never.
got new, the new Monday Night Golf League that minimal details have come out around it, but it's going to be the top guys that play on a simulator in some
Yep.
sort of arena setup. And that
Yep.
got announced from that. Getting past the pack meetings and the changes to the tour, which none of them really kind of like, have you heard anything about
No,
some of the stuff for the little guys? No,
no,
I haven't
no,
either.
no,
It has
no.
not been a thing. That the stipend at the beginning of the year, have not heard anything
Well,
about that.
so I did find out that $500,000 stipend is for guys that don't keep their card, right? That finish outside the
Uh,
number of keeping their card, that don't make that amount of money. So that doesn't, a guy like my guy, Troy Mayer, is not going to get an extra $500,000 tacked on to his 1 point whatever he makes, or 2 point whatever, or 3 point whatever, if he has a Yahtzee year. No, it's
it's a
just for,
bummer.
yeah,
Really
yeah.
is.
But that was one of James Hahn's points about,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? These guys getting paid. So did you ever, I don't like to push anybody towards other podcasts, but not that we're competing, because we have fun doing ours, and we're growing a little bit slowly but surely and that kind of stuff. But I did take some time and listen to James Hahn's podcast with Alan Shipnuck, and it was pretty interesting, the truth, all the points that he was bringing up. And that obviously that was one of them. And, Jimmy's one of my best buddies. So I you know, so it is what it is when it comes to that. But that stipend is, I do feel like when that, I was telling you that there was, my guy is an average guy. He's been an average guy, slightly above average for 10 years. And that makes up, Matt, what, 90% of the tour pretty much. And I felt like when they were talking about that, those guys, that was a little division there from those
Yeah.
20 big time guys, or maybe 2 or 3 guys that Billy Horschel style, who think they're like really marquee players. And I'm not knocking Billy's ability and or work ethic or anything like that, but you almost felt like for a little while there, for a month or two, there was some division there, and the guys that make up 90% of the tour weren't appreciative of, didn't
Definitely.
appreciate the way that went down for obvious reasons. And I get it, right? I get it. It makes sense.
Then you got Rory McIlroy ends up winning the FedEx Cup at the
Yeah.
end of the year. So you end up with the two speaking heads.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Thomas wins the PGA Championship after he becomes kind of the spokesperson. Then you got Rory that caps it off at the very end. But I mean, give me your thoughts on the year. I mean,
well, crazy. I mean, crazy is, I don't even need to, everything you just ran through makes it just the craziest year that golf's ever seen.
it was
Ever before.
fucking nuts, Bobby.
It was crazy. We'll never see another year like it. But the biggest question to me, Matt, is who's player of the year? Who's player of the year? Who's player of the year this year? I mean, really, you have 3 guys in the running, right? You have Cam Smith, you have Rory McIlroy, and let's not put Scotty Scheffler aside for what he did, getting to
but
number 1
also
and
Will
winning.
Zalatoris.
He can't be player of the year.
Well,
Well,
yeah, he didn't get
he
away
only
with
won. When you went down that resume
Wait,
of
did
how
he
he did
win
in the
this year?
majors, fuck, you left out the fact that he won Memphis, the FedEx Cup event, in extra holes.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, he
I
won
completely
Memphis.
forgot about that.
But
Well,
he's
yeah,
not.
you can't
He's
bring up
not.
Memphis.
He won't get one. I don't even know who votes for that. The sports writers or something. I'm not even sure who votes for that. I should know 20 years later. But
I think it's the
he
players,
won't
isn't
even
it?
get a vote. Listen, the vote's going to come down to Rory McIlroy or Cam Smith. So my question to you is, Mr. Question Man, who would you vote for Player of the Year this year?
Rory. I think he had
Okay.
the best body of work.
I would too. Yeah, I would too. I would vote for Rory too, to tell you the truth, because the fact is, as soon as the shit started leaking out during the playoffs, and Cam got fucking blindsided with the interviews and his lips weren't loaded very properly at Memphis, probably from his agent on how to answer those questions. And then he WDs from Delaware the second event. So that's just him running scared, saying, I don't fucking want to, and I'm not knocking Cam because he's a fucking great dude. He's like, all the Aussies are just fucking great, legit.
Love Cam Smith.
Yeah,
Love
straight
him.
up guys. But he never really, he had no chance of, because he WD'd of winning that. He had no chance because he was frazzled of winning Memphis, and he certainly had no chance of winning the Tour Championship. So my point is, if he doesn't go to LIV Golf, what kind of a golf, and he plays different golf in those 3 weeks. Well, 2 of the 3 weeks he would have never WD'd, right? So, but I go with Rory McIlroy as my vote for Player of the Year. I can't even really comment on how crazy of the year it is because we're on a little bit of time schedule here, and I just tell you it's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. But I also told you at the end of the year and all during the fall None of us guys were talking about LIV Golf or what's going to happen next or who's going to go next. For Christ's sake, they haven't even announced. We know Mito's going. Mito's gone. They haven't even announced that yet. So they're sneaky quiet for fucking some reason, right? They're sneaky quiet for some reason. So, like I said, they're not going to make that T-Rex footprint, until they get the world ranking thing situated. And I just don't see that happening. And honestly, I don't know how we could have a crazier year than this year ever in golf. What scenario could bring that up, man? Nothing, right, bro?
None. I don't
Yeah,
think so. I mean, unless just live golf becomes even that much more wilder and
yeah,
crazier, and the
yeah,
drama just continues because there's a lot of internal team conflicts that are going on. It's basically, we've referred to it as the housewives of the
yes,
golf world, and so I look
yeah,
forward to a lot of drama this year. A
yeah,
lot of drama, especially with live golf. And I think the rhetoric has started to slow down around it all. Obviously, you've got a lot of PG Tour guys that are just kind of like, hey, just need to figure this thing out, and we got to come to terms with everything. And it's, at the end of the day, I think the big drama about the two tours fighting is
hmm.
over
I do too.
because of the players, and the players are
Hmm.
just like, let's get over this thing. Like, this is bad for
Yeah,
golf. Let's get
yeah,
over
for
it.
sure.
And I think it's going to be a pretty interesting year. But Bobby, I just want to wish you, your family, our audience. Go ahead, Bobby.
I was not just doing
Oh,
that Bobby Brown move.
you fucking
I
threw me for a loop
I
there,
was
Bobby.
queuing you up. I was queuing you up, bro. I was
But
queuing you up.
here,
I just want to know, did you brought in the mystery filler guest for the mystery filler last week?
oh
And I
yeah.
just want everybody to know that listens to us. Did you fucking miss me? Because I missed you guys.
Listen, well, I'm sure our audience missed you 100%. I
Yeah,
missed you because,
I know.
it gives me that safety net. I felt like I was actually, for the first time on an interview, a little nervous. I was a little
Really?
nervous. I didn't have you to
Hoopa
back me
Koopa.
up on stuff. So it was a little nerve wracking. It was kind of like
Super
the time
Koopa.
I did the solo episode on my own and was a one-legged man in an ass kicking contest. But let's restart this. We
Okay.
want, well, Bobby, I want to wish you, your
Yeah.
family, your
Yeah.
kids, your
Thank you.
mother,
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody,
The dog.
the dog, and then, of course, our fantastic audience, which has been awesome and growing. And yeah, it's been that slow drip because we don't have the big push from the big time kind of media outlets, which is completely fine. We're okay with this
Yeah.
because guess what? You guys who are in the know get to spread that word and tell people about us. Make sure to subscribe to the
Yes.
podcast, the YouTube channel, and continue that support because we are very grateful. But I want to wish everybody a very happy new year. I'll leave it to you, Bobby,
As
to
do
send
I.
us out.
As I do. Well, I can't say Merry Christmas to everybody because mine's still going, but everybody else's isn't. So I just hope everybody has a great New Year's Eve, a super safe, great New Year's Eve. And we appreciate everybody that listens to us, and especially that dude who reached out to you that says we have a really good podcast and you hope it doesn't really blow up because I will have to cut my shit back a little bit and
I
cut my shit
love
back,
that
dude.
comment.
I'm gonna
That
carry for
comment was
7 more years,
great.
bro. I'm not fucking cutting my shit back. I keep telling you, how about the episode when I show up with a black eye and that kind of stuff? And everybody's gonna go, what happened? And I'm like, okay, I gotta cut my shit back now.
I'm ready for the celebrity boxing matches. I can't wait. 2023, it's going
Hey,
to be a hell of a year.
we got an episode to do next week, though,
We
too, don't
do.
we?
But
You better do some studying. I'm out of shit to talk about. We need
Bobby,
these guys to come up with some fucking drama.
next week, it's
Hmm.
going to be a very important show
It
because
is.
we
Yeah, I love
we
it.
we got to kick off the start of the year.
Oh my
I mean, we're going to be in
God.
January 2023. Can you
Oh
believe that
my
shit?
God. Wait,
Uh,
I'll just say this. The Sony Open, the
mm-hmm.
American Express in La Quinta, Torrey Pines, Pebble Beach, Scottsdale being 20 million, and then the
Monday
big
qualifier, Matt
Monday
Cook,
call.
the Monday qualifying legend. He is coming out this week, guys. Troy
And then
Merritt has withdrawn. We don't know why. We don't have a reason, but Bobby Brown is now in the bag of Matt Cook.
and
Monday
Matt Cook
qualifier.
secretly paid Bobby Brown $5,000 to get Troy to WD, and he got to spend the money with Troy. That would have worked at Torrey Pines because he hates that place. And then we finish it with Riviera. So we got some exciting shit to talk about next week for
See,
sure.
we just racked
We're
your
gonna do
brain, didn't we?
players to watch. It's gonna be that
Yeah,
Bobby Brown list, players to
it
watch,
is. This
players
is
to
your
hate.
episode
It
next
is.
week,
I'm
bud.
looking forward to it,
Yeah,
man.
me too. Get your
Thanks,
research
buddy.
ready because
Good. Good. I will. It's good to
All
be
right.
back. I missed you, bro.
I missed you too.
I'll go kick that dog in the head now.
You do that right now. Tell the family I said hi and Happy New Year.
Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you, Matt.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Season 2 of the Pull Hook Golf Podcast. Make sure to hit subscribe and go to www.pullhookgolf.com for more